Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is Jeff Imbalaba. I actually had it right before. Imbalaba.
Correct. Good,
Yes.
Good.
I know I had to just say it a couple of times. It is the spelling that throws it off.
Exactly.
Jeff, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you so much, Chris, for having me. First of all, before we get started, I just want to appreciate you for what you're doing. It's a lot of work that goes behind the scene, lots of work. I've taken time to look at the podcast. A lot of your guests, bringing trailblazing entrepreneurs. Great work you're doing, and I'm honored to be part of this.
Awesome.
And for our audience who's listening right now, I just want to say, if you get anything of value from this podcast, please go leave Chris here a 5-star review, guys. I've done mine, and I want them to do it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's get started. My name is Jeff Imbalaba, as you said. I'm the founder of InvestFusion. So what I do is to help real estate investors protect their deals before they lose thousands to non-refundable monies without even owning the property. The reason is very simple. There is a $4 billion problem happening in real estate right now. And quietly every year, buyers are losing over 40,000 deals collapse every single month. And they lose billions of dollars to deposits, inspections, and non-refundable fees. I've seen even investors who lose over $5 million on a single commercial property, one deal. So how many times can you make a mistake like that? How many times? The reason is very simple. I'm going to be very blunt with you. And if you're listening to this, there is a problem right now in real estate, and most of our buyers are going into deals blindly. Irrespective of their experience, they can say, hey, I'm very experienced in real estate, or I just got started in real estate. It doesn't matter. Why? Because the tools at our disposal are not designed to protect them. They are designed to keep them guessing. And it's not because these buyers make a bad decision. No, it's because the tools at their disposal allows them to go into these deals blindly. And that's just the scenario we found in the market. Now, there's something happening in real estate which most people are not aware of. It's called the no representation loophole. Now, what that means in essence is very simple. It means buyers or sellers can legally hide things like foundation issues, structural damage, foggy or mold or mildew in the crawl space, and not tell the buyer. And they can legally do this, and you, the buyer, go into a deal only to discover that those issues exist in this market. Why am I so passionate about this? Because that was me exactly. I've been there. I lost over $11,000 on one property, a duplex I bought in North Carolina. I thought I did my homework very well, but the sellers kept all of the facts behind the scene and never disclosed those in the material fact. And I got burnt. So what messed up with me wasn't the money I lost. Was after that incident, I started second-guessing every deal I go into. Wondering, am I going to make the same mistake again? What if what if I get burnt the second time? So it affected my sleep, my confidence, and just threw me back. And that made me pause to think. And I realized that the problem wasn't me. The problem was the tools we have at our disposal. And I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to say this 100%. Most buyers who go into deals, the tools we use are not designed to protect us. They are designed to keep us guessing. They are designed to make us browse. For example, Zillow, Crexi, LoopNet, your YouTube Guru Flavor of the Month. All of these tools are designed for browsing, not to help you make a decision as a buyer. And that's the problem we face. And so when I realized this, I realized that, listen, I tried to do this manually. For 6 months, I got nowhere. I still got burnt. And I realized no one has done anything to build a tool that can protect buyers at the deal level. And that's when we say, you know what, this cannot continue. And that's when we stepped up to build InvestFusion. So today, buyers can use InvestFusion to uncover hidden risk. They can validate the numbers and verify the deals in under 60 seconds. That's the power of what we built. And I'm not just excited that we built something that can do this for buyers and give them protection. It's the fact that regular people, ordinary buyers, can now go into deals with confidence, with clarity. They can see a deal and they can get a go, no-go in under 60 seconds on any deal. And that's the power of what we've built. And so for me as an individual, I want to tell you this 100%. Despite my years of experience in real estate, despite having a mentor, to be very humble, we've done over $800 million in real estate. To be very humble. despite that level of experience and expertise, the several deals I've closed, I cannot, with my clear eyes, go into a deal without running through the platform first. That's insanity. I can never do that. And so for me as a buyer who've been in this game and seen what is happening in the real estate market, one of the things that stood out for me is if there is a loophole in this industry, if there is a $4 billion loophole and no one is doing anything about it, and every single month buyers are going to deals and the deals are collapsing, I said, no, I have to be the guy to step up and take care of that. And that's where we all came up from.
That's really interesting. You said a lot of stuff in there, and we were talking off camera about how I saw real estate, and I've seen a lot of stuff too, but it's mostly been just a lot of investors just not doing due diligence on either the home inspection or spending more for a home inspection, or looking at, we have foundation issues here in Texas, so people looking at like measuring floors, or there's just a lot of stuff that you could do. One thing that I was really interested in is that I don't know if it's really happens all the time. I don't want to put anybody under the truck, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of times, a lot of people just are really into the money, and it's just not realtors. It's also people that sell the home insurance, so they can see if claims were filed. They can see if the home was underwater in terms of like something broke, because we have ice here, so the water will freeze in the pipes, and then it'll break, and then you'll have water everywhere, and you can't stop unless you have to turn off the valve at the street. So you'll have like water damage and stuff. And I've always wondered, like, does the person that's buying the insurance, are they just buying it because like they're checking off the box, hey, I need to buy insurance so I can get the loan? Or are they actually doing a lot of due diligence on the back end? And the person that's selling the home insurance, are they actually telling them, hey, look, they had claims of water damage, or they had claims of, whatever it is. Like we had a storm recently. I saw this on Facebook. I didn't do a lot of research before I got here, but lightning hit the house and the house caught on fire, and that's a claim.
That's it.
And then what's going to happen is like that's going to be on that home forever. And I'm wondering if anybody's ever going to tell the person, hey, remember that Facebook post? Well, that was our house. Like it's a lot of that kind of stuff just kind of gets swept under the rug because it's an emotional game in real estate.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I'm going to tell you a story quickly. So last night, we were just talking about this. When I flew into Texas, the hotel I was staying, the gentleman I ran into where we're trying to have dinner is a pilot. So he flies helicopters.
Nice.
And we just got talking. He said, Jeff, what do you do? I said, I'm the founder of InvestFusion. I just gave him a quick overview of what the platform does. He said, this will happen to himself. So these are regular people.
Right.
What happened was he went in with his friend. They saw a property just down the road here in Texas, and they closed on this property. Now, 6 to 8 months down the line, they discovered that the house has foundation issues. It began to crack. And so the structure, the beam that holds the entire infrastructure of the process began to collapse. What did they do? They called a general contractor. And this guy came in and said, I saw the property and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry, guys, you got to spend over $25,000 to fix this. And that was the beginning of the cost. They never recovered from this. The lesson for me here is a lot of buyers go into deals and they're not aware of the challenges of ensuring that proper due diligence is taking place. Why? It protects them. You go into landmines. You go and buy a deal that is purely a landmine instead of buying a gold mine. So you lost money, you lost time, you lose your sleep. And that's what is affecting a lot of buyers. And so you see regular people, ordinary people, everyday buyers go into these deals only to discover major red flags, and then they pull out of these deals. And the reason why is a fact, because data never tell lies. And the data is proven that every single month across the US, this is not just one, across the entire US, buyers are going into these deals, and at the end of the day, they are forced to back out of that deal. How many times can you afford to lose $11,000?
It gets to, I think it became like a trend because of Grant Cardone and like the whole, he buys multifamily homes, and then people are like, oh, well, I saw you flip a home, or maybe watch a YouTube video on how to do it. It sounds very easy, so I'm going to go flip a home. And then before you know it, they get into different things that they didn't know. Like, for instance, there's parts of Plano that have cast iron piping. And they've been there for 30, 40 years, and the piping's like rotted out. And then you're going to go in there and start doing stuff, and you got trees, roots coming in and all kinds of stuff. And We had one property that my investor bought, and like literally when you flush the toilet, the water from the toilet goes onto the foundation because it's a pier and beam.
Okay.
It goes onto the ground. So like for years, they've been flushing this toilet, and the toilet just goes right onto the ground, and they have no idea.
They have no idea about that.
So they're like, like obviously, like we get really hot here in the summertime, and like you would kind of be like, it's starting to smell pretty bad under there, but nothing. Yeah, so there's just like a lot of stuff like that. But if somebody were to buy that and not do their due diligence and not know that, hey, like now I got piping to do, and you're on a tight budget, and you could totally blow it all up.
And that's a very important point you brought up, because I always say this. As a buyer, there's a 4-step process you go into real estate. One, you have to pay your non-refundable due diligence fee. There is a reason why they call it non-refundable. Right. you already know, you're in the game. Number 2, you pay your earnest money deposit.
Right.
Now, the 2 other fees are optional, but as a savvy investor, you want to do your proper due diligence process. You must pay for inspection and pay for your appraisal. The good news right now is you have a tool that does the first heavy lifting for you and lets you know, listen, if there's any record anywhere on the planet on that property, you will know about it. And so just thinking that, oh, I'm on a tight budget, I can't afford this. No, because you're saving yourself heartache, pain, and headache.
Right.
And that happened to Patrick. Patrick was one of our clients. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. This gentleman was looking for a deal. You know how the same thing you were talking about that. So he spent about 6 months going on Zillow, scrapping through everything, and then pulled out a list of about 50 properties. So he was going from one deal to the other deal to go and see the properties with his agent. After about 4-5 months, the agent got tired and said, listen, are you closing these properties or you're not closing? Because that's what buyers do. Right. Why is he just playing the games that way? Because he's confused. He's guessing. And he knows that his resources is limited. So he doesn't want to go into a deal only to realize that, oh man, this deal is a bad deal, and then he backs out of that deal. And that's the situation we see. So without having a clear picture on what is happening, buyers are actually very concerned about those deals. And that's why you cannot take a detour when it comes to your inspection process, because the inspection, the appraisal gives you a leverage. You need to know what is happening before you go into that deal.
I've seen all kinds of stuff. I've seen where people get real emotional too. We talked about this. Had a gentleman come on for home buyer. I mean, not home buying, but he builds homes. Okay. And somebody will be like, okay, well, I want to get into building homes. And I've heard that's, you make a lot of money building homes. And for the most part, yeah, you do, depending on how you get it set up and if you have the right contractors and all that good stuff lined up, which he does. Well, and then you get into, I want to have the most expensive tile and the most expensive bathtub and the most expensive this or that. There's just so much information out there. And like you were saying, like there's like a lot of gurus out there talking about this. I follow one guy, he does he started out doing flips and now he does buy and holds. And then he ended up like doing tear downs and rebuilds, and he owns like a lot of different property. And I mean, it's just, there's so many different ways to make money in real estate. But the thing is, going to your point, is like you have to do the due diligence, because you're going to end up on the wrong side of the track. If you go out and you say, oh, well, I'll do this deal and I'll flip it. ARV is this if I get it to that. And, it's by the school and I got this and got that. And before you know it, you try to get it to flip and nobody wants the thing, I had one of my agents, I don't want to call him out, but like he did something pretty simple. He didn't ask me about it, but he went out and bought like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. And as you know, like nobody really wants a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So it's a functional obsolescence. You got to have a second bathroom, right? So he bought it. And then the other kicker was he didn't know, but he bought it in the historic district. And he went to go change the windows and they didn't approve the windows. So he lost, I think, 12 or 15,000 in windows because it didn't get approved, and they had to go in and tear out all the windows, and they're brand new windows. I mean, it was like a whole mess. He's like, well, I learned my lesson. I was like, well, that's an expensive lesson, bro. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. What do you recommend for people to do, like flipping it on the other side? Like, do you do what I did, which is like, call the home insurance people, ask them what they got, obviously do a thorough home inspection. Here in Texas, obviously you want to do like a structural engineer actually come out and look at it. Talk to me about a lot of the stuff that you recommend to your clients.
The smart play is always the best play. And I'm going to be very, very blunt about this. when it came to real estate, I told you we've done, humbly speaking, we've done about 800 million. We had our losses. We lost over $5 million on one deal.
Wow.
One deal, commercial property here in Texas. It's here in this case we lost that deal. And I've had losses in multifamily units. The problem most investors go into is they think they see this hype on this guru on YouTube and they think, oh, it's just going to be simple. I just go buy, flip, and just do that. That's not the gameplay. This is the gameplay you want to go into. There are 3 things I tell my investors to look out for. 1, if you cannot afford to buy a duplex, which is the first entry level, why do you want to get into that as an entry level? You want to use a duplex as your gameplay. That way, your mortgage is taken care of by your tenant. That's number 1. If you cannot get a duplex, you go for a triplex or a quadruplex. If those 3 is out of your budget, the baseline is to get a single family unit with a rentable basement. Automatically qualifies as what? A duplex. That's 1. Number 2, very important now, is you want to buy a property that is 30 or 40% below replacement cost. It must, I'm going to repeat this word now, it must have built-in equity. Sarah is one of these are real life people. Sarah is single mom, 6 children, 2 jobs.
Wow. Sarah
saved $15,000. Now, when she saved that money, Sarah had 0 tolerance to lose that funds. You know that already. It took her 8 months to save that money. She said, Jeff, I need to use this platform to find this deal. We run InvestFusion through a zip code because by zip code, wherever you are in the country, it's going to pull up the records. Sarah found a deal that had over $30,000 built-in equity. How? It's because the platform tracked the appraisal reports. You know that the lender needs the appraisal value to validate the actual living square footage and the true valuation of the property. With the appraisal report, she saw that, okay, well, this has built-in equity. It means I can cash out immediately on this property. That was 1. Number 2, it was priced below replacement cost.
Nice.
So 30 or 40% below replacement cost. Plus, you have built-in equity, meaning automatically it's discounted. The platform flags foundation, structural, major maintenance, and it thinks or interprets it for you and lets you know if you're going to buy this property and it has huge maintenance, it's going to calculate the cost of that maintenance for you and let you know, is it a wise game to play or not? When it comes to cash flow, people teach different strategies in real estate. They teach for equity or for cash flow. If you're smart, there are different ways to get cash flow. You can do different things to get cash flow. That's a simple sell. The hard sell is understanding the data. Now, look at Sarah's situation. Sarah's already gotten a property now, discounted to the market. It means it's coming in below the asking price because it had a 30% upside potential for her. So 1 is cheaper, no maintenance required. All we do are vanilla changes, very cosmetic. I can come in here. The same principle I just told you is what we did across the board. We come in, we buy this. In fact, I'm going to tell you something very funny thing. We bought a property, a commercial property here in Dallas. Initially, when we bought it for $20 million, we go in with paints, carpeting, put it back, small landscape, put it back in the market. We sold for $44 million.
Wow.
Guess what happened? During the time when the market took a dive, we rebought that same property for $15 million.
Wow.
That's the magic. So you don't want to go into that deal.
Right.
Go to do maintenance, go to do all of the whole headache, time, loss, money, heartache, pain. You don't want to do all of that. You want to find the right deal. The challenge we've always had, like I told you, we lost $5 million too. The challenge we've always had is because we're humans, we're emotional, we're going to deals emotionally, and that affects our decision-making process. But with data now, with what we have behind us, it's amazing. We can know a deal that is a gold mine in an instant. And so you save time. You save headache. You don't have to drive around the city to go and see all kind of properties. You can tell in an instant, does it have equity? Will it automatically have cash flow? Because if it's going to be discounted, if it's low, it's already going to have cash flow. And then you know what you're doing in the market. So that's the gameplay we do.
What is AI doing right now in terms of your business? Is it helping? Or are you using like different prompts? Like what are you doing with AI?
So this is what happened November 2025. I found a property using InvestFusion. The platform flagged a 65% deal score. So it ranks properties across your zip code, your city, your state, wherever you are located, based on that ranking profile. So anything below 50 is already tells you it's a bad deal. And it's going to give you why it's a bad deal. So he found this deal and flagged a 65% deal score. Immediately I call my agent. Listen, I say, listen, we're going to close on this property. We checked everything. No foundation issues, no structural damage, no foggy window, built-in equity of $15,000 built-in equity on that property. So I knew there was cash already in that property. I called my agent and said, let's go and close on this deal. We paid everything they required, paid the fees, and we called an inspector. So we'll go and inspect this. We never said anything. I said, go and inspect the property. This guy came in on video, confirmed everything the platform found, and validated that the platform discoveries was exactly what he found as a professional inspector. So with AI, you don't have to be an expert. You can be like Sarah, single mom, 6 kids, 2 jobs. You don't have to be an expert. You don't need years of experience. You don't need a team of analysts. AI, data is data, records is records, wherever you are located. AI can go into a deal without emotions and look at the raw data. With my years of experience, listen, there's no human that can do all of this. I burn the candle when it comes to real estate. I mean, I love real estate.
I can tell.
But I can tell you 100%, there is a limit to what you can do as an individual.
Right.
Because we're emotion. We're driven by emotions. Well, with AI, you can already... So imagine this. Instead of you driving 2 hours to go see one property and 2 hours to get back to your destination, in 60 seconds, you can tell if a deal is a bad deal or if it's a good deal. You can tell a landmine from a gold mine.
That's great.
That's what AI is doing right now.
Wow. Jeff, if somebody was interested in knowing more about Infusion or wanted to talk to you more about real estate, where would they find you?
Okay. So, Chris, once more, I want to really appreciate what you're doing. I know that your listeners here, you always want to give them value, something that they can take home and use almost immediately. So for our listeners, if you're listening right now, I want to share something inside of InvestFusion that we don't even give out. We've never done on any show before. You cannot find this anywhere else. So because you are here and you're listening to Chris right now, you're going to have that given to you. So I'm going to give you guys 2 things that you can usually find inside of InvestFusion. But before I give you those 2 things, let me tell you who this is for. If you are currently looking at a deal right now and you are wondering, there's this voice at the back of your mind telling you maybe you're missing something, then this is for you. But if you've already lost money on a real estate deal you thought was solid, then you already know why I'm doing this. The reason is simple. The reason why most buyers lose money in real estate is not because they are lazy. The reality is because the tools that are at our disposal, the Zillow, the Craigslist, the LoopNet, these tools are not designed to help you make a decision. They are designed to help you browse. And that's why buyers lose money. So to close that gap, this is what I'm going to give to you guys today. The first thing I'm going to give to you is called the deal-killing red flag cheat sheet. It's the warning signs I wish I knew before I lost over $11,175 on one deal in North Carolina. It's 1 page and it's ready for your next walkthrough. Now, the second I'm going to give to you, the second very special, is the 60-second verdict blueprint. Now, it's the same framework I use instead of InvestFusion to get a go, no-go in 60 seconds. And it's the same framework I use in November 25th to close on a deal that had over $15,000 of built-in equity from day one, ready for you to use. Now, just imagine what changes when you can get your hands on these 2 very special gifts. You stop burning weekends on deals that are never going to work. You can tell a landmine from a gold mine in just 60 seconds. And when you can do that, you're going to move faster than the investor who's sitting right next to you. And if you can move faster than the investor who's sitting right next to you, you stop playing defense with your money and you start playing offense. So this is what you're going to do right now that you're still thinking about this. Go to podcast.investfusion.co. Go grab the cheat sheet. Go grab the blueprints. Once more, it's podcast.investfusion.co. Please don't share this link with anyone else. This is exclusive for this podcast and exclusive to those ones who's listening right now. I will see you on the other side.